Today, let's talk about the legendary tomb tiger. There are two versions of the story about the tomb tiger. One is that in ancient times of poverty, when an old man reached the age of 60, his son would take him to a tomb in the mountains, and every day a brick would be added, with a meal provided, and after 100 days, the tomb would be sealed, and such an old man was called a tomb tiger. Another version is that in Hebei, Shaanxi, and Inner Mongolia, there is a legend that a woman who died while pregnant, if the child was not born, she might become a tomb tiger after death, which is somewhat like a zombie, but the tomb tiger would have the memory and consciousness of her lifetime. The story to be told today comes from the sharing of a netizen named Master of the World. He said that in his hometown, in the northwest of Shaanxi province, in the county of Kailan, there has always been such a legend. In the 1960s and 1970s, a man went to join the army. Before he left, his wife was pregnant. After he joined the army, because the man was illiterate, he never contacted his family. 2 years later, the man was demobilized. He was eager to return home and rushed back overnight. The courtyard was overgrown with weeds, looking desolate, and his mood was also complicated. When he was about to knock on the door, his wife opened the door to greet him, saying, "You are finally back, our child is about to be born." Then he saw a child coming out of the room. The man picked up the child excitedly, but felt a bit strange. After entering the house, his wife said she would make noodles for him, and he agreed. But he accidentally saw his wife grabbing a handful of ash from under the Kong stove as flour, and he felt something was wrong. He thought that he had come back in the middle of the night without prior notice. Why hadn't his wife and child gone to bed, as if they knew he was coming back? Think again, his child at most is only 1 year old. How could he walk, and he doesn't look like a child of more than 1 year old? Then he said to his wife, he is a retired soldier, after arriving home, he needs to go to the county to attend a meeting. He missed his wife and child too much, so he came back to see first. He said, "I have to go out now, and I will rush to the county in the morning. I will come back as soon as I finish my work." His wife said, "Then come back early, I will wait for you at home." After the man went out, he went directly to the home of a nearby acquaintance, and learned that his wife had died during his military service, and the child was not born. The man was both sad and scared, at a loss. When he was hesitating outside, he saw his wife and child coming, with a strange expression. He was scared and ran quickly, wanting to go to the local armed department. Although he had just been demobilized, he was in good physical condition. But he found that his wife and child were always following him. When he finally ran to the armed department, it was already dawn, and when he looked back, his wife and child were gone. The leaders of the armed department, of course, did not believe his words, but in the end, they agreed to let him stay in the army for a few days. As a result, the next night, his wife came. She arrived at the gate of the armed department and said she wanted to stand guard at the door of this person. The guard said that the person is not here, you can't go in. His wife and child tried to break in, and the guard fired, but they found that this woman and child were not afraid of bullets at all, and were still hurting people. It was not until it was almost dawn that the woman and child left. That night, many people in the army were injured. The next morning at the meeting, someone said that this woman was very similar to the legendary tomb tiger, invulnerable to knives and guns, afraid of sunlight. The higher UPS ordered to eliminate this unknown creature at all costs. But considering that they are not afraid of bullets, they invited a local gentleman. That night was another fierce battle, and the army was well prepared in advance. There were no casualties that night. But the gentleman said he couldn't do it and suggested that they go to a nearby county to find a person named Yinzingzi. Yinzingzi is really a great person. It is said that the tomb tiger ran away as soon as he saw him. Yinzingzi forced the tomb tiger all the way to the army's oil depot, and then the door of the oil depot was sealed, and the oil depot was ignited, and it burned all night. The crisis finally passed. Netizens said that people in the nearby county all know about this. Later, there was a tradition in their local area: if a pregnant woman unfortunately passed away, they must undergo a certain ritual. Well, see you next story.